Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, WWE employees were briefly stuck in Qatar yesterday as the Saudi Arabia situation becomes more complicated.
No more bonuses for WWE stars heading to Saudi Arabia.
A title match has been pulled from Night of Champions.
And a backstage report on plans for Jade Cargill before she got injured. I'm Adam Wilborn.
And I'm Andy Murray.
And this is the news.
Okay, we told you that if there were new developments in the Night of Champions Saudi Arabia WWE situation, we would bring them to you this week, and we are bringing them to you this week. Today is Tuesday. A bunch of stuff happened yesterday, but the core situation is that the show's going, as we are recording, the show's going ahead, which we kind of thought would be the case.
Yeah, we said as much yesterday.
But basically, there was a situation yesterday where airspace around Qatar and Saudi Arabia, and I believe the United Arab Emirates, was closed to civilian aircraft for a period. And this led to a situation where some WWE employees were actually stuck in Qatar because they'd been awaiting like a connecting flight. Then the airspace was closed and they couldn't go. So this all came about yesterday. The order for airspace around Qatar to be closed was actually lifted later on Monday. And all of that stuff. But Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer was the first person to report this, noting that several WWE employees were stuck at the airport in Qatar. That was some production crew, and they were going to help with the setup of the show and all that stuff. One source, he had a direct quote from a source who confirmed the show is definitely happening in Saudi Arabia. It's apparently just business as usual, despite the massive geopolitical situation between Israel, Iran, obviously the US were involved as well. Now, WWE have not publicly commented on any of this stuff as of yet, but according to the Associated Press on Monday, Iran retaliated. They struck a US military base in Qatar after the US had struck Iran over the weekend. Now, Donald Trump, the president of the USA, has claimed that a ceasefire between Iran and Israel is now in effect. Ceasefire is obviously positive news.
Yes.
But the whole thing was very dicey for a moment yesterday in particular.
Yeah.
Now, there's a quote here from Brian Alvarez. He said, "The belief is because of where the production trucks are in the US, that if they don't go to Saudi, they'd find somewhere between Ohio and Pennsylvania for the show." Apparently, they had 4 or 5 options available, but it looks like it's going ahead, so that doesn't seem like it's going to be activated. Now, there was a PW Insider report that some people misinterpreted a little bit. Mike Johnson noting that WWE have actually had staff in Saudi Arabia since the week of the 6th of this month, so like a few weeks ago, and they've been setting up. They're arriving in waves, basically, and they've been setting up the show for at least a week so far. Some people took that to interpret that the story about Qatar must be trash.
Yes.
But he also stated in the same article, people missed this part, that 5 staff people were actually stuck in Qatar for a period. So there we go. That was a whole thing that unfolded yesterday. Now, again, look, we're not geopolitical pundits. I don't have nowhere near enough knowledge of this situation to comment on the wider aspects of all of this. I can only really pick it apart as a wrestling thing. Look, if the ceasefire is coming to effect, that's obviously positive. The thing about the flights, right, in the civilian airspace is that WWE, they charter the flight for the wrestlers and all that stuff. So that wouldn't necessarily have impacted them. It would have been private. It wouldn't have been a civilian, public aircraft. So that might not have impacted things. It's just an anxious, touchy situation. And look, we said yesterday it would take a lot for them to cancel the show because there's finances. It's always finances with Endeavour and TKO. So there you go. Yeah,
there was a lot of misinformation doing the rounds yesterday. People claiming, actually, they've decided to move this show to different places, or they haven't got any plans. And what they're going to do, you always assume that they would have a backup plan, especially with things developing as they did over the weekend. I've got friends who teach and live in Qatar, and they sent me some very concerning videos over the weekend, or yesterday, I should say. Regarding the goings on there. And like you say, it just makes sense logistically that they send a team over less than a month in advance Saudi Arabia, well experienced in putting on major events like this, of course, but you'd want your own person on there just to make sure things are being set up correctly. Then more people will arrive to do the more finer details, and then obviously the staff will arrive later on. So yeah, I didn't see this report and thought, but all the people must already be there or on the big flight that takes off on Wednesday.
Like they only took one plane.
Yeah, exactly. It's in the grand scheme of things, it is ridiculous to be concerned about our little wrestling show that's going on. But yeah, in terms of what us fans are worried about, this situation seems to be in a better place than it was, let's say, 24 hours ago with the ceasefire and what have you.
Exactly.
And we always said it, barring something really awful, it always looked like it was probably going to be going ahead. And you watching Raw last night, there was no suggestion by WWE of any concerns whatsoever. They're like, well, see you on Saturday, sort of thing.
Yeah, precisely.
And obviously they've got SmackDown there on Friday, I should say, hence why they're going midweek. But yeah, it's one of those things that whilst right now we think, well, all's good and there's a ceasefire and stuff, it's an incredibly tense situation. And as we mentioned yesterday and as we're doing today, we will keep reporting on this as and when we hear any developments.
Yeah. You'd hope that, assuming the ceasefire sticks, and there have been some conflicting reports about this ceasefire as well. But again, like I don't know. I'm not. I don't really know about this stuff. Like I'm an idiot. I like wrestling and hardcore music. That's about it.
I see a BBC News report about like the ceasefire, and then I go, anything there about not a champion? You go, no. Okay.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. You're right, isn't it? Like it's thinking about wrestling first is a bit weird, but that's what we are. It's WhatCulture wrestling. It's
exactly.
not. So. Hey, look.
It would be good to see us on the news at 6, though. Bong, me and you there.
Yeah.
Hey,
what?
This is the news.
I want to go on the news show with the lady who did that once.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go on Trevor McDonald. That's what I want to do.
Tricky Trev. Tricky Trev. Is Moira Stewart still kicking about?
Probably.
She was awesome.
Hope so.
Legend of the game.
Michael Burke.
Oh, the Burker. The Burkinator.
Yeah, that's the one.
The Burksman.
Speaking of news, though, an interesting development.
Burker is weird. Like, Burke is not a verb. How can you be a Burker? I'm going to Burke you, Chief. What's going on? I have no idea. Sorry.
Fightful came through with a really interesting development alongside all this Saudi news. As you mentioned, they were talking all about the goings on with staff being stuck, but also in the report they wrote, for those asking, talent we've spoken to are no longer bonused for the Saudi shows. Those types of things are baked into their contracts now. There is not an additional financial incentive for the talent on the trip that we've heard of, which is a really interesting wrinkle to all of this story. So now, initially it was like, I know this is a big thing, but if you want to do it, then here's the financial incentive. Now it's just like, no, you work for WWE and we do Saudi shows. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought this was I don't know if this has ever come out before. If it has come out before, I missed it completely.
I always still assumed, there was incentives, as you say.
Because you think of certain wrestlers and their moral stances, at least their public outward moral stances, and then they're like, why have they done this show? Oh, they're getting paid $1 million. It's no longer the case. It's just a salaried show. It's no different to me or you being told, hey, you need to record the news in Sunderland tomorrow.
Yeah.
Actually, I would probably require some kind of... Sunderland's all right. I'm just taking the mick. Because we work with a few Sunderland fans.
Yeah.
But I really like... They've got like a cool area that has like a pie shop near the stadium now. It's really nice.
I've literally just been to the stadium of Light and left again.
Oh.
I've watched a terrible FA Cup game against Mansfield and a brilliant gig from the Spice Girls.
I saw Beyonce there, so
What?
It's pretty good. Yeah, she went to Sunderland, brother. Fun. Why not?
And then she was like, next time I'll go to the Spurs Stadium. Thank you very much.
She did. Yeah, the Spurs Stadium was nicer than the Stadium of Light.
That's a fair assessment.
But yeah, Sunderland up and coming, I think. But yeah, respect to all the Northeast towns. We like them all, I think.
I hate Middlesbrough.
You don't like Middlesbrough?
That's a football thing, so never mind.
Yeah. Well, Parmos are good.
Yeah, that is good stuff.
Yeah. It's basically, if you're American viewers, which is most of you, you think of a chicken parm, but like made by British people who are silly. Like breaded chicken, bechamel sauce, cheese. You dip it in the garlic sauce. It's got like double sauce.
It's amazing.
Double sauce, triple carbs, quadruple fat. It's the best thing ever. You just substitute in bechamel for the tomato for bechamel, So it's like infinitely worse for you.
Okay.
It's great.
Sounds good.
It rules. But yeah, I'm actually quite surprised. I was surprised to learn that there's no more bonuses for like...
Oh, yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, for these shows. Because like, but then it adds up when you think of like Goldberg versus Gunther taking place on Saturday night's main event instead of...
Yay, that's a good point.
Previously, it would have been
that's
like...
in Atlanta as well, but yeah. That's
Hot Atlanta, as they call it.
Indeed.
So... Previously, you'd think, oh, Big Bill's getting paid, baby. I'm sure he's still getting paid. I don't think it's free labor. But yeah, interesting. I thought this was interesting.
Yeah,
for sure.
It really is. And this Saudi thing, it's always, every time of year it rolls around, there's always conversations to be had one way or another.
Anxiety. It causes a lot of anxiety, especially, when things are happening in neighbouring or nearby countries.
Indeed. Before we move on to our next story regarding some big developments that happened on last night's Monday Night Raw, if you're an American who's sick of watching Monday Night Raw with ads on Netflix, I'll tell you what you need, NordVPN. Those guys are doing brilliant stuff and we're working with them, and we've got a brilliant deal for you at the moment, 76% off and a $50 Amazon gift card if you want to get your hands on that. Just click the link in the description. There should be like a QR code on screen as well right now. Genuinely great, and if you're in Britain and you're like, well, I don't have ads on Netflix, how would you like to watch American Netflix and all the shows we're not allowed to see, apparently? Check it out, NordVPN.
Also, you're supporting the great John Nord, a.k.a. the Berserker.
Indeed.
When you do this. He would want you to berserk your way into that link.
For the Nordmeister himself, give it a click.
The Norder. We're just adding "er" to people's...
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the Will Borner. Doesn't work. Yeah, anyway. Marie. It sounds French. Marie. Beautiful. Gorgeous. Anyway, it's my turn, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Jesus, I'm a mess. Right, okay, so a match has been pulled from Night of Champions. It's Dominic Mysterio versus AJ Styles. It's off the show. They were originally going to contest the Intercontinental Championship, which Dom has obviously held since WrestleMania. Dominic is injured, apparently. This was broken by Adam Pearce, the postman. He always delivers.
Yeah.
On
he always rings twice as well.
He does. He's got a black and white cat. It's mental. He told AJ this on Raw, claiming that Mysterio was injured. The match was being postponed. AJ thinks that Dom is ducking him, which is befitting the character. But Pierce told him it was legitimate, and his hands were tied.
Rib injury?
Yeah, too much jokes, too much ribbon. Dominic appeared later on in the show. He was in a backstage segment with the Judgment Day. Said he missed Liv Morgan, and Finn's trying to push him and Roxanne Perez.
That's all right, guys. Never mind.
Who cares? Hey, she's gone, but
only out for 6 months.
Oh, hey. Liv is, of course, legitimately hurt. She's got a goose shoulder, as they say in the profession. But yeah, there you go. So they'll probably do that match at a later date. They have added Karrion Kross versus Sami Zayn. Yes. I mean, this match has been building for about 6 months.
Yes.
So
actually, it's the perfect place for it. Obviously, Sami gets an incredible reaction everywhere he goes, but particularly in Saudi Arabia. Karrion Kross, man, like the pop he got when he just turned up on screen last night. I don't know what this match is going to be like, but I know the audience is going to be loud for it. So a fair trade.
Interesting. I was into Dominic versus AJ, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But we'll get it at a later date. That's fine. That's totally fine.
Just put it on Evolution.
Yeah, why not? I mean, Evolution is a mystery.
Yeah.
So you might as well ruin the whole concept of the show by putting Dominic Mysterio on it. Why not? That's a big weekend of shows.
They've not booked anything else for Saturday night's main event, so they could hoy it on there, haven't they?
Yeah.
It's just Gunther and Thingy in at the moment.
I think so.
Goldberg. Sorry, Bill.
Big ass weekend of shows, that. Evolution, Saturday's main event, all in, obviously.
Yeah.
Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. It's jacked. It's an anabolic weekend of shows. It's just...
So you were telling me it's a bad day to take the Monday off afterwards?
Hey, good luck, Michael.
I am on a 4-day stag do before that. I am not coming into work immediately afterwards.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. It's my mum's birthday that weekend, so I'm going to have to watch them all in like one day. Yeah, sick. I mean, that sounds good, to be honest. Whole day shows.
That is just wall-to-wall wrestling. It's
whole day shows, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, I'm really looking forward to that weekend. Yeah. Mainly for the stag do, but also, wrestling's good as well.
Monday's going to be funny.
Right. Spoilers for last night's Raw, but again, what are you watching this for if you haven't watched Monday Night Raw, okay?
Don't be silly.
Right, Jade Cargill won her match against Roxanne Perez. She has punched her ticket to the Queen of the Ring finals, where she will face Asuka for a potential shot at a title later down the line at SummerSlam, of course. But some really interesting developments with regards to reports on plans for Jade Cargill prior to her injury. She not just got injured. I realised, as I said it in the intro there, it sounded like Jade Cargill just got injured. No, when she previously was injured, here are the plans that they were going to have for her prior to that injury from Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio. Dave basically talking about how before the match with Perez, he expected her to win to get the title match, etc., etc. Jade was supposed to be, if she hadn't gotten hurt, Jade was supposed to be champion by WrestleMania and defending it at WrestleMania. Not win it at WrestleMania, but before WrestleMania. Take a shot for every time Dave Meltzer says WrestleMania in that sentence.
Or
yes. Let me just consult my notes. Meltzer further notes that Jade Cargill should probably go on to become a champion in the next few months. Sorry, no, I've worded that completely wrong. I apologise. Meltzer further noted that should Jade Cargill go on to become champion, it would make sense, obviously, for her to interact with Naomi. Personally, as I have been saying since pretty much the start of Queen of the Ring, I think Jade Cargill, yes, goes on to beat Asuka, faces Tiffany Stratton at SummerSlam, and it doesn't matter who wins that match, because the person walking out of SummerSlam will be Ms. Money in the Bank after using her cash-in, Naomi, and I think that's the right call.
I think Naomi should cash in on Jade after Jade wins it.
Yes.
That's like a big FU to your rival,
Absolutely.
isn't it? And it creates...
Oh, you won at WrestleMania? Well, I'm the champion. Either that or there's the last woman standing match on Friday, so she could go into SummerSlam as champion, Naomi.
Yeah, there's interesting things to go. I do like the idea of Jade being even more pissed off and having to chase Naomi after she, like stealing the title away from her after 2 minutes or something. It's quite fun.
It could, the early odds, I would suggest that maybe we get Sammy and Jade winning the Rumble next year for those big matches.
Then it could be tag team champions after that.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, indeed.
I'd believe them whipping ass.
Yeah, awesome.
Why not?
But yeah, it just makes sense. Love Asuka. I think she's looked great since she's come back. And the little tease of Asuka and Io Sky was very exciting on Raw last night.
Got her CFO's theme back as well.
Yes.
So is that the first person who has had their Def Rebel dumper of a theme removed?
What do you know, Asuka? What dirt do you have?
AJ got little one, but I don't know who is that CFO's.
That feels CFO's, doesn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, maybe that's a sign of good things.
I hope so. Because my God, they're terrible.
Yeah. Def Rebel's not my favourite.
There's a new one that you were away, and there's Jordan Grace has got a new one in NXT, and I get why they did it. You know, Braun has sirens. And I was just like, and we'll get used to it. You get used to them all. But like, if I was in charge, Andy, I think I could list genuinely 50 themes that I would change.
And that's the thing. Like,
top of that list would be Bailey's, by the way.
I actually don't get used to bad themes. Like, I never do.
I suppose, yeah.
They go
just
off.
skip past them.
I skip the entrances when I can't be bothered. But that's a shame, because when the theme's good, I don't skip the entrance.
Yeah, Lola Vice.
So it's good.
If you want to come and get it.
I am scarred. If you want to see more of that, here's an hour-long video with none of that.
Yeah, I promise you I'm not going to do that in this video.
50 facts about WWE from the 1980s. It's really, there's some... Get out! Go on! Bye.